Playing the Radical Latino Show.
Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands in the air for New York's very own.
The
Latino is taking you to another level.
Beats by Nebs.
Welcome back, my people, to another episode of the Radical Latino Show with your host, the Radical Latino. What is poppin'? Oh my God! As this week and month and year all around been going crazy. I can't fucking believe it. I cannot believe it. Sorry for the late episode. I was just trying to get all the information I needed to get in so I could cram it into this episode. A couple of things I wanted to talk about that it's not so important right now in our community, and then a couple of things that is important in our community I just wanted to talk about. You know what I mean? So with that being said, Jesus Christ, I hope everybody's doing great. Whatever city y'all in, I hope y'all okay. Y'all not, the looting is not that crazy or whatever the case is. Hopefully that's the case. Hopefully everything's all right. You know what I'm saying? I want to give you guys an update, especially just for my YouTube, not about the podcast, just on my YouTube. I want to give you guys an update. So I put out a poll a couple of days ago, and I said I'm thinking about maybe switching up my content and adding some new things that I enjoy into the mix, and want to ask you guys of any ideas. Mind you, the podcast is still going to remain the same. I'm not going to switch up the podcast. I'm just talking about my YouTube channel. That's all it is, because I do use the YouTube channel as a way to market the podcast, but I was thinking of it, maybe I should use it as a different avenue, So I basically put 4 choices out. Tech reviews, like, reviewing on new technology that's coming out, iPhones and stuff like that. Movie, comics, reviews, and breakdowns, giving business advice and breaking down cryptocurrency, or mini documentaries on random things that I find interesting, right? 45%, 42 people voted, and 45% said give business advice and break down cryptocurrency. 29%, top two, said mini docs on random things you find interesting. And number 3 is tech reviews. Dead last was comics and movie reviews and breakdowns and stuff, which I kind of suspected, but all right. So it looks like we got our top 3: the business and crypto, mini docs that I find interesting, like video essays, and tech reviews. So it looks like I'll just do all 3. I'm gonna leave this voting poll up on my community tab on YouTube. I'm gonna leave it up for a couple of more days, and then I'll see what I actually come up with. You know what I mean? With that being said, let's read some of the comments from last week's episode. Are Hispanic/Latin people white? So let's read what it is, because it was a user requested episode. You guys heard the voicemail and all that, right? So let's read what some of these people said. Gil says, I love it, right? Love it. Shout out to Gil. Truth Teacher says, I'm not confused. I'm a mixed person, primarily in African descent. Yeah, I know, Truth Teacher. I wasn't really talking about you. I was just talking about the fact how some people just use the word mixed, and they just use it as a cop-out. You know what I'm saying? That's what I find that people really do. Dark Lord says, excellent topic. Fun fact, all Latin people are part black and part native North and South American and part white. in varying degrees. Do you also know Mexicans have Arab culture influence into theirs. Blah 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 blah. Yeah, I kind of knew that, but that's another interesting insight. Caribbean Boy said, finally watched this late. Shout out to Caribbean Boy. Godzilla says, for me, race doesn't exist, but I do see what whites tend to favor themselves when it comes to making police and laws. The USA is a great place because we got a constitution, and if it was for Cuba, probably, yeah, all right, I see his point. Derek also says, truth and fun facts make people mad. One of the two stooges got mad at what I said about him. Oh yeah, he's talking about Dominican Renaissance and all them. Yeah, shout out to Derek. And lastly, Marcus says, I wish the Civil Rights Act of 1964 said those rights black people fought and died for were exclusively to black people. That's a good point. Those immigrants will have listed themselves as black for sure. That is a good point. The thing is, we have to remember, in the system of white supremacy, whenever we think we're getting a W, let's think again. Majority of the time, we're not getting a W. We're basically not getting a W whatsoever. That's not happening. But that's very true. And shout out to Marcus. Also, I'm gonna be dropping some merch pretty soon. I've been putting out some hints on my Instagram and putting out some hints on my community tab. So just stay tuned and look out for that, because it will be dropping very, very, very soon. And it's just gonna be for the summer. That's all I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do it for the summer and see how many people cop it, if they cop it or not, and see what's up. You know what I mean? So look out for that. Hopefully that right there will get people like excited and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Now, moving on to our first topic, which is HBO Max. Now, the reason why I wanted to talk about HBO Max for a second is this is the perfect example of companies confusing their customers and not knowing how to utilize a simple strategy marketing model. I'm afraid that Apple will go through the same thing also with their phone lineup. Having iPhone R, iPhone SE, iPhone 11, 11 Pro, 11 Pro Max, 11 Max. You know what I'm saying? I feel like Apple will go through the same thing, but let's just focus on HBO Max. So HBO Max dropped a couple of days ago with mixed reviews. A lot of people who have HBO Now didn't know what the fuck HBO Max was, and their app quickly upgraded from HBO Now to HBO Max, right? A lot of people with HBO Go were confused as well, because the HBO Go is free with their cable subscription. So their app didn't change, but for some reason you can download the HBO Max app and have both apps open connected to that one account, which is weird and doesn't make any type of sense. Now, HBO Go doesn't have all the content that HBO Max does, and HBO Now, again, doesn't have all the content that HBO Go or HBO Max does. So HBO Max is supposed to be an all-encompassing, thing. What they should have done was discontinued Now and Go and just say, listen, we're just calling this shit HBO Max, and that's it. Or just keep the HBO Now thing and just let go of Go. You know what I'm saying? And just say, look, it's HBO Now, and this is a new interface, a new refresh, everything. You know what I'm saying? This is what they should have done, but they haven't, and they're confusing everybody. On top of that, they rushed this thing super early, because Roku and Amazon Fire Sticks didn't have the API for the apps available on the launch date. So basically, they screwed themselves. They screwed themselves from a 20 to 37% market share of people who have Amazon and Roku TV box sets, and they don't have the availability to get the HBO Now, app. Which there should be workarounds on that. You know what I mean? I think there should be workarounds on that. If you're able to AirPlay it, through your thing, it should be fine, I guess. But they fucked themselves royally. You know what I mean? On top of that, the majority of the things that they promised wasn't there on day one. All three Nolan trilogies of the Batman is not there. Most of DC's content is not there. On top of that, the whole Snyder Cut thing. They promised the Snyder Cut for the Justice League will be available on HBO Max. And the thing is, this was a marketing tool to just basically jump HBO Max ahead. But the funny thing is, the Justice League Snyder Cut won't be available until 2021. Because apparently, the Snyder Cut was just a rumor and there wasn't really no Snyder Cut. It was just a part of the Snyder Cut already done. And literally, for what I've read, 65%, no, not even. I think it was like 50 or 49% done, and 51% of it was Joss Whedon was left alone. And there was this whole rumor thing about the Snyder Cut. And when they really went out and Zack Snyder didn't really make it any better when he would post little cryptic videos and pictures talking about, look, the Snyder Cut, it's a real thing. Look, the Snyder Cut, director's cut, look. And the thing is, you find out that the studio gives him $30 million to reshoot scenes that he originally wanted to reshoot in the first place, which means there was no such thing as a Snyder Cut whatsoever. And the thing about it is, it shows that this whole thing was just a bullshit conspiracy theory that was just started by the fans, but HBO Max, the studios, they saw this as an opportunity, saying, well, there is actually a Snyder Cut. And they'll put it in the fine print. Well, it's not really a Snyder Cut because nothing was really done. But there is a Snyder Cut, and you guys will get it in a year. You know what I'm saying? So HBO Max kind of fucked up royally. You know what I mean? HBO is owned by AT&T. AT&T is owned by Time Warner. And those are the people who are basically, they're basically playing that cat and mouse game when it comes to certain things that they want to do. No, HBO Max was something stupid from the jump. It confused a lot of people. They shouldn't never even done that. They should have at least took one of the apps off or whatever the case is. But it is what it is. That shit was a complete travesty. The way I see it, it was a complete travesty. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, it is what it is. Now, the next topic that I want to talk about is the new racial videos. The new racial videos that is popping up out of nowhere. Oh shit. These racialized videos about Karens popping up, calling the cops on innocent black men. Now, these videos aren't nothing new because we've seen it all the way from 2016, 2017. These women, these like homely looking women, a bunch of Karens, you know what I'm saying? Calling out for calling the cops on black people for numerous things for no goddamn reason. You know what I'm saying? And they would just constantly do that. And now there's a resurgence. It's coming back up again. You know what I'm saying? It's coming back up again, and there's a resurgence, and they are doing it more vocally. Now, people are having, they're having some tongue-in-cheek fun with it, calling it the white women Karens. I even saw in one post the evolution of a Karen, which is kind of funny, that they start off as Beckys, and then they evolve into Karens, and then they evolve into Susans. You know what I'm saying? So it's like Pokemon. You know what I'm saying? So I saw that one post, which is hilarious, but the evolution of a Karen. You know what I mean? But the thing is that it's really funny how you have certain people out here still calling the cops on black folks for numerous things. Like, you have a FedEx worker just delivering packages. You're scoping out my house, man. What the fuck? What is up with you? What are you talking about? I didn't put this get up for no fucking reason. Leave me the fuck alone. You know what I'm saying? Calling the cops because they're in Central Park and some black guy tells her, hey, put your dog on a leash because this is the rules on the ramble. In Central Park. And then mind you, white people, they're the masters of being victims. The masters of being victims, all right? They are the masters. Whenever you see a white person tell you any crazy story that happened to them, take it with a grain of salt. Because the majority of the time, it's all bullshit. The majority of the time, they either started it or the story isn't going the way it is. Have you guys seen... Actually, I did a whole live a couple of days ago showing how this white dude with a fucking crossbow, thinking that this motherfucker's Link from Zelda, just trying to crossbow people, hunt them down and shit, and he got his fucking ass beat, and rightfully so. He got his ass torn up, rightfully so. And when he's on the news, he's saying, oh, well, I don't really know what happened. All I was doing was I was on my car and I yelled out the window, all lives matter. And then two black guys just hit me out of nowhere, man. No, not at all. Two black guys hit you out of nowhere. It was a whole fucking mob. It was a whole mob. They fucked that dude up, and he was on the news being a victim. They're masters of victim. They're masters in playing that game. Whenever someone gets called out with their racism, they know how to get into code. And they're like, well, what? And they start twisting your words around and all this other bullshit. You know what I'm saying? So the thing with that is that these new videos are starting to resurface, right? They're starting to resurface again. And the thing about that is that, the same old thing. Calling the cops on black people unjustly, making yourself the victim, like that Central Park lady. She got fired, by the way. And then you find out in her job, there was a lot of racial discrimination lawsuits against them. So they had to fire the lady. You know what I'm saying? So to save face. And let's remember, whenever a white supremacist get fired, they never really get fired. They get transferred all the time. So she's probably good in an umbrella company right now somewhere, remotely looking over a bunch of black people. That's probably what it is. She probably got fired with a nice severance package, a nice parachute, if you will. They're like, well, Karen, we don't really appreciate the racism. You were kind of, racist in that video, but what we're gonna do is to save face. We're gonna let you go right now, but he's a nice, suitable severance package. That's how they do it. The little suitable. It's a nice, suitable severance package, and you'll be okay. I think that will hold you down for a good 2 years, okay, Karen? You know what I'm saying? And then online, I was seeing white people more pissed off on how she was handling the dog than how she was really handling, you know, the situation with the black guy. Like, what the fuck? Are you stupid? Are you dumb? Are you stupid or are you dumb, huh? You know? Like, are you serious? Come on. Nah, you can't be serious. You cannot be serious with that. You cannot be serious with that. They really cared more about the dog and how she handled it. But then again, you read news articles saying that she had to return the dog because of public outreach and outcry. You know what I'm saying? She could go fuck herself. But that's what it is. That's what it is. You know. Also, you know. So like I said, all of these, you know, resurgence of Karens coming out, and it's because white supremacy right now is showing off their power. White supremacy right now is showing off how they can implement in harming you in multiple ways. That's what white supremacy is doing right now. If you're confused as to what white supremacy is and how it's affecting you and how it may affect people around you who look like you, then you have to study upon what white supremacy is. Then you're gonna have to study upon what white supremacy is. Because this is not a coincidence. The reason why we are seeing this happen every day, time and time and time again, is because now we have the technology to literally record it, and once we release that thumb off that screen, it's automatically uploaded. It's saved forever. Automatically. It's to the point there's some shortcuts where you can even ask your iPhone, if you have an iPhone. There's shortcuts where you could program the listening device, where you say one phrase and it'll record everything until the battery runs out. But before that shit is being sent to the cloud and sent to your friends through a text message. That's how crazy technology is. But that's the reason why, because these things isn't something new. These situations isn't an outlier. This always happened. Listen, I got stopped in other people's neighborhoods when I was just parked trying to find out the GPS. You know what I'm saying? I wish I could actually find that video clip. I really wish I could find that video clip where that one lady, you know, knocked on my window and said, you know, what are you doing here? This is a private street. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm just stopped here. Well, you can't park here. Mind you, there's a bunch of cars parked all over the place. And I was like, well, ma'am, I'm just trying to figure out my GPS right now. And so, yo, well, I'm gonna call the cops. Okay, you could do that, but I'm just figuring out my GPS right now. Yeah, I need you to leave. Okay. You know, some older. She was a Susan. She wasn't a Karen. She was a Susan. You know what I'm saying? But that's what it is. It happens all the time. Now is being, you know, uploaded a lot more frequently. You know, with the advent of the internet, with these cameras, new optical zoom, you know, 4K camera arrays and all this other shit is being more in your face now that you can't really ignore it. You know, white supremacy is really taking not a L, but white supremacy is showing their ass right now. They're showing their ass right now. So we shouldn't take this as something likely. We should actually be out there in the forefront fighting and talking about these type of situations. That's what we have to do. That's what we have to do. You know what I'm saying? That's exactly what we have to do. Now, moving on to my next topic, which is the main topic. I don't know if this show is going to be, short or whatever the case is, but a lot of things is going on, so I wanted to dedicate the last segment for my main topic. Now, there's a lot of protests happening all throughout the country. There's a lot of protests happening all throughout the country. I even made a live on it a couple of days ago. And I'm not saying I was emotional about it, but I was very proud that at least some stance is being taken. Very proud. Because usually you don't see this amount of attention, this amount of people on one code and one code only to get justice. You don't really see that. You don't really see that everywhere around. You don't see that in the media. You don't see that being spoken about in the news cycles and all this other stuff. You don't see that whatsoever. What you do see is all the negativity that we do amongst each other. That's what we see. And that's what the media portrays constantly. And what the media likes to portray also is racism. Racism sells. It stirs up bullshit. Stuff happens. And, another news story gone away. You know what I mean? That's what it is. You feel me? Now, with that being said, a lot of protests is happening. A lot of fake protests is also happening in the same time. We should be really vetting who our allies is, especially at this very moment. Because it's very dangerous for us to be around on one code and having someone who think is an ally but is actually a Judas. Who we think is an ally is actually a snake. Who we think is an ally but is actually a 6ix9ine, an informant. It's very important for us to vet these type of people. And literally every single goddamn day is passing by, we see this being shown and being proven right, that there's a lot of fake allies. People out there pretending to help out board up stores when in reality they just did it for a photo op, and then they go back, walk into their little Mercedes and back into the Hollywood Hills. There's other people just going around with people in a large crowd, taking pictures and then going back home saying that look what I did. Then this whole blackout Tuesday bullshit, it has to stop. We have to see who our allies really are. We cannot be confused on who our allies really are. The fact that anybody can infiltrate a movement, a political atmosphere says a lot. The fact that anybody could come in and just bogart their own BS into infiltrating a political movement for their own BS agenda says a lot. We should be stopping that shit in the front door. We are the culture. We should be stopping that shit from jump. Straight from jump. You know what I'm saying? We should definitely still be stopping that shit. You have undercover cops pretending to be protesters making these riots happen. It's coming out literally every other day. You have white people saying that they're down with all the protests that is happening, but yet setting fire to buildings, cars, and then spray painting BLM, and then people right now thinking, oh shit, look, black people are doing it. Oh shit, look, black people are doing it. Oh shit, look, black people are doing it. To the point that local gangs like the Latin Kings have to protect their own neighborhoods from outsiders, not from black people, because I've spoken and speaking to certain Latin Kings in Chicago that were part of some of these videos out here. It has nothing to do with race, and they've been telling me this from jump. There are some subscribers of mine that are saying that, hey, listen, I'm from Chicago and I'm part of the Latin King set. I'm part of the ADR. And we are not doing none of that racial shit. I don't know why the news keeps on saying that. I don't know why the news keeps on flipping it. Why are they telling us? Why are they saying that the Latin Kings are working with police? That's not what we're doing. Outsiders that's coming in to just wreak havoc, we're stopping it from the jump. That's all it is. Guess what? Black folks are doing that too in their own neighborhoods. They're stopping shit from the jump, to the point I just uploaded while this episode comes out in the morning. I just uploaded. By the time you guys hear this, it's gonna be like around 12 something in the afternoon. I just uploaded something in the morning about Chicago Mexican gangs telling black people, listen, we are the same. Listen, we are together. Black power, brown unity. We shouldn't be looting each other's neighborhoods. We should be protecting it from outsiders. So all that other bullshit goes out the window. Everything Antonio Batista is talking about, yeah, we gotta save our neighborhoods from these blacks. No, that's not what it is. Antonio, like those white supremacists, they always like to flip it into some racial shit when in reality it was never into some racial shit. And it's very easy to blame Latin people because Latin people got that backlash of, oh, they're the racists. You know what I'm saying? Very easy. But I'm seeing that also happen with George Floyd. I'm also seeing that happen with George Floyd. A lot of fake news that isn't verified, trust me, because I'm trying to verify it, are saying that, hey, George Floyd had PCP in his system. Word? George Floyd had drugs in his system? For real? For real, fam? George Floyd had drugs in his system. Wow, okay. Does that still mean that the cop's knee had to be in his neck? Because that's the reason why he died. No. He died because of pre-existing conditions. No. Not at all, because there was an independent autopsy done, and they said that the reason why he died because of lack of oxygen going to the brain. That's the reason why he died, because of the pressure of the neck. That's the reason why he died. Let's be clear. There's a lot of fake news out there that a lot of right-wing people are going by, and if you don't really know the truth, you'll get confused. Even if he was high on PCP or whatever he was high on, does that mean that's a death sentence? You feel me? That shit right there doesn't make any sense. Then I'm hearing something else. George Floyd had a history of robbing Latin people. In 96, he robbed a Mexican dude. In 07, he robbed a Mexican lady. Word? The only places I'm finding this is unreputable sources, 4chan, Reddit. I'm not seeing none of this shit in real news out there. You know what I'm saying? And let's say he did rob Latin people. A black guy robbing Latin people. Okay. You acting like Latin people haven't robbed black people also? You know what I'm saying? Are we really gonna go tit for tat right now? Are we really gonna be pointing the finger at each other when in reality we're in the same system together? Okay, he robbed Latin people twice. He robbed Latin people. All right, cool. All right, what does that mean? That means he deserved to die? You know what I'm saying? Come on, people, we gotta think right now. We have to think. None of that shit is verified. None of that shit is proven. You feel what I'm saying? None of that shit is proven. So when we really look at what we really need to be doing, my favorite phrase that I'm gonna start using, which I already said a long time ago, I'm gonna start using, which I made the title of this episode: I'd rather die on my feet than live on my knees. Powerful quote. Powerful quote. That quote came from what I heard it. I don't know where he got it from. From what I heard it came from Immortal Technique in an interview. I don't know where he got it from, but this is where I'm quoting him. Immortal Technique said, "I'd rather die on my feet than live on my knees." Very powerful quote. And that's something that is being shown and implemented now. You have Donald Trump, a white supremacist, regardless of whatever you want to say, a white supremacist, calling our people and us thugs, and every other name in the book, saying that these looters are gonna see my wrath when I get sprayed with bullets or some shit like that. That's what Donald Trump is saying. A white supremacist is saying this, but yet totally fine when those people were protesting to open the state back up. They were in Capitol Hill with guns. Last time I checked, when the Black Panthers did that, that was totally illegal. You can't do that. They went and rewrote the laws. Last time I checked, when the Black Panthers did that, they can't do that. That's against the law. You cannot bring a gun into a federal government building. You will be arrested. But yet, they did it totally fine. He even tweeted when those people were protesting to open up the country back up. What did he say? Well, these are very fine people. We do need to open the country back up. Blah, blah, blah. But when we are fighting for injustice from the system of white supremacy, the talking point is thugs, law and order, and we'll bring the military in. Wow. And apparently I'm hearing from a couple of people, well, he did do a lot for the for black folks. Really? He did a lot for black folks? Okay. Taking some black people out from jail, which wasn't his original idea, was a celebrity endorsed photo op, because let's be honest, he's always there for attention, isn't doing anything for black folks. Those little actions right there is not gonna tip anyway. That's not gonna do a goddamn thing. The same way how some black people are millionaires, that's not gonna tip the racial scale of impoverty anyway. That doesn't affect it whatsoever. So you guys can miss me with that talking point. But Donald Trump did a lot for the black community, right? Okay. Yeah, because he does have a history of practicing white supremacy. You know what I'm saying? But I'm very happy to see these protests go down, and I wish it doesn't stop. Right now, there's a curfew in New York City anywhere below 96th Street after 8 o'clock. No cars should be out in the road. And I find that very interesting. Past 96th Street, below 96th Street, no cars should be out in the road. 96th Street. If anybody knows anything about Manhattan, to be honest, it starts like around 110, but whatever. Let's just say on 96th Street. From 96th Street, it's all white. From 96th Street all the way down is all white, and I'm not talking about the Lower East Side. Literally, that's maybe 5 to 6 blocks of people that they could control. I'm not talking about them. But they're protecting all white people. From 96th Street all the way down, they're protecting white folks. But from 96th Street up, you could have cars outside. You know why? You want to know why that is? One is for either people who are protesting to either get run over. Two, easier for people to get stopped by cops or whatever and get roughed up. You know what I'm saying? Three, it's easier for them to stop cars and implement a military martial law style type of thing. That's what it is. That's why they're cool with having cars above 96th Street. Because anybody that knows Manhattan, up from 96th Street and up, are all black and Latin people. You got Spanish Harlem right there in 116 on the east side. You got black people right there on the west side. Go up 125th is Harlem. Go further up than that, it goes from Harlem to Washington Heights. And that's all Washington Heights right there. That's all the Latin people. Which connects to the Bronx in two ways, Fordham and Riverdale. It connects to the Bronx two different ways from the tip of Manhattan. So that's very interesting. Very, very interesting how they say no cars below 96th Street. Now, I have a conspiracy. I don't know. Maybe you guys will blow holes in my conspiracy, but I have a conspiracy. Maybe, let's just check this out. Just hear me out for a second. As we all know, the whole COVID curfew, lockdown shit happened, right? And we were forced inside. How easy it was for us to just start adopting masks and start obeying and stuff. Start being inside the house, right? It was so easy, so easy. Now that we're opening back up out of nowhere, these riots are happening. Protesters, riots, they're scaring us every which way. And then I'm thinking what they're gonna do is they're gonna close everything back up and say, no, everybody gotta stay home now. Curfew, lockdown. Everybody gotta stay home. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like they're gonna try to do this in multiple ways, where they're just gonna keep us home indefinitely and try to implement martial law. I don't know. This is just a conspiracy. All right. Don't call me crazy or anything like that. I'm just thinking out loud. That's it. I'm just thinking out loud. I don't know. I'm just saying. What do you guys think? Am I crazy? Am I a little nuts? What do you guys think? You know what I'm saying? What do you guys think? But I'm very happy that we are actually out here in solidarity, black and brown, and actually a lot of white. You know, shout out to the white allies. Some of them that's real cool. You know what I'm saying? Not all of them, but some of them that are real cool. That are doing their thing. Shout out to them. That are actually out here doing their thing and say, I'd rather die on my feet than live on my knees. Shout out to them. Shout out to them. Shout out to all those protesters setting fire to these government buildings, which I still think is a kind of a conspiracy, because how you get close to the federal Federal Reserves, or not the Federal Reserve, but like a government building in Washington without getting hemmed up. You know what I'm saying? How you get so close to you set fire to that shit? But anyway, but whatever. Shout out to the protesters setting fire to these places. Shout out to the protesters setting fire to that police station. Shout out to them. Shout out to them. You know why? Because that's a very symbolic symbol that shows there's powers in numbers. It shows that. It shows that you cannot just control us every which way. It shows us. It shows that the political structure of a police force, just the image of the police supposed to represent fear and order and all that went out the window when they set fire to that shit. That says a lot. That says a lot. Which means that just a small institution as a police station, it's no stop for a whole mass of people, which is a good thing. Which is a good thing. I'm glad this is happening. I'm glad that the institution of white supremacy is being rocked back and forth. I'm not saying that we're stopping white supremacy. I'm not saying that white supremacy is stopped out of nowhere. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is it's a good thing that the institution of white supremacy is being rocked back and forth. This is a good rocking. A very, very, very good rocking. I like that. And I'm very proud of my people for doing that. For implementing justice in a situation where there was none. For implementing or trying to implement justice in a system that sees you as inferior, in a system that treats you as inferior, as a system set up for you not to get justice. I'm so happy that we're all on one code and one code only, going out and actually showing our ass out and doing our thing, because no revolution has ever been successful without violence. None. No revolution has ever been successful without violence. Not even the Civil War. Fuck that. The 13 colonies, when they got together and they wanted to separate from Britain, they didn't go out and started marching. They didn't say, hey, sign our petition. They didn't do none of that. They blew wigs off. That's what happened. Britain got off their ass. When the Haitians wanted the French off their ass, they didn't sign petitions. Then they didn't say, you know what, man? Fuck all this slavery shit, man. Yo, let's go march. All right. And they started making signs and they started marching. None of that shit happened. None. They started capping motherfuckers' heads off. That's what happened. And that's how they got results. In any revolution, violence is always the answer. Peace and protest happens to people who don't want no action. Peace and protest only happens when there's no solution at the end of the road. That's what happens. You know what happens with peace and prosperity? Just turn the other cheek and all the other bullshit. We get fucked. Look at any march that ever happened. You think change came out of that? Read the fine print. No change came out of that. Read the fine print. No change came out of that. Real change came out of violence. That's the only way white supremacists understand their position, is when you knock a motherfucker's head clean off. Violence. That's what it is. And the fact that there's these people out here doing their thing, shout out to them. To the point, I almost forgot, to the point where Anonymous, the hacking group or whatever you guys want to call it, Anonymous said they put out this message saying, yo, the Minneapolis police, y'all a bunch of racists and we could expose you guys. Y'all don't believe me? Yo, yo, check this shit out.
Greetings, citizens of the United States. This is a message from Anonymous to the Minneapolis Police Department. Police brutality and murder is a widespread problem in the United States, which has undoubtedly infected nearly every jurisdiction in the country, but the Minneapolis Police Department is among the worst, and has a horrific track record of violence and corruption. This week's brutal killing of George Floyd, which has sparked protests and national outrage, is merely the tip of the iceberg, in a long list of high-profile cases of wrongful death at the hands of officers in your state. In fact, in the past 2 decades, 193 people have been killed by police in Minnesota. In recent years, we have seen numerous high-profile killings in the area, including the deaths of Jamar Clark, Philando Castile, Justine Damond, Thurman Blevins, and Brian Quinones. These are only the cases to catch headlines, where videos or other evidence proves that the police are lying. Sadly, in the vast majority of police killings, the only one left alive to tell the story is the officer who took the person's life, and thus the cycle is able to continue because none of these murderers ever face any justice for their actions. This travesty has gone on for far too long, and now the people have had enough. In the most recent case of George Floyd, the blatant disregard for human life exhibited by the officers is undeniable, and all evidence that has been released so far has shown that Floyd was being entirely compliant with the officers, which contradict earlier claims from police that he was resisting arrest. Furthermore, our initial investigation of the offending officers has revealed a criminal pattern of violence on the job. At least 2 of the officers involved in Floyd's arrest, Derek Chauvin and Teo Uthao, have a history of on-the-job shootings and excessive force complaints. Who kill people and commit other crimes need to be held accountable just like the rest of us, otherwise, they will believe that they have a license to do whatever they want. You will claim that this is just the work of a few bad apples, but what of the officers who stand by and do nothing while they commit offenses against the people they encounter, and the police departments like yours who refuse to prosecute these criminals as they would one of the citizens that they are sworn to protect? People have had enough of this corruption and violence from an organization that promises to keep them safe. After the events of the past few years, many people are now beginning to learn that you are not here to save us, but rather, you are here to oppress us and carry out the will of the criminal ruling class. You are here to keep order for the people in control, not to provide safety for the people who are being controlled. In fact, you are the very mechanism that elites use to continue their global system of oppression, and the world is finally starting to wake up to this, and they are becoming increasingly angry every time they see blood needlessly spilled without consequence. These officers must face criminal charges, and Officer Chauvin especially should face murder charges. Unfortunately, we do not trust your corrupt organization to carry out justice, so we will be exposing your many crimes to the world. We are Legion. Expect us.
Yo! Listen, the last thing I want is to piss off an international hacking group named Anonymous, okay? These motherfuckers, first of all, yo, if nobody knows anything about Anonymous, is they are hacktivists. If y'all know anything, they're activists, but behind the screen, they're hacktivists. You know what I'm saying? And it's a whole group. It's not just one person. It's literally a whole group all around the world who joined this this group that's called Anonymous, and they all, you know, band together to, you know, attack one thing or whatever the case is. So that's why it's very hard to catch, for the authorities to catch them, because they're doing the will of the people. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Anonymous. I would never, ever want to be in your bad side. You know what I'm saying? Never want to be in your bad side. But shout out to Anonymous, because they're doing the will of the people. Shout out to them. And the thing is that Anonymous, you know, comes out and, you know, and says what they say and all that. And you know what I'm saying? Like, the last thing I want is to be in the bad side of Anonymous, of a group like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the last thing I need. You know what I'm saying? You feel me? But anyway, that's what it is, man. That's what it is. You got Anonymous. Basically, most of them are white boys. You know what I'm saying? Just, you know, on a computer, fucking your life up. Fucking your life up. Behind the screen. Because you want to be out here racist. And check this out. All of this over the country, it's happening because these people don't want to condemn a racist. This is the price of white supremacy. This is the price of white supremacy. They don't want to condemn the racists so much to the point that they let shit burn down. When is enough enough? You know what I'm saying? When is enough enough? What is the price? What is the price? You feel me? What is the price? But anyway, with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed my episode. The episode. You know what I'm saying? Episode 92. If you guys want to hit me up on Instagram and Twitter at the same name, radical_Latino_. Also, if you want to support your boy, you can hit me up on Cash App. Also, $ Radical Latino, or go to my website, radicallatino.com. If you don't want to support monetarily, that's fine. I'm monetized, so just watch my YouTube channels or rate me 5 stars on the app. With that being said, I'm gonna catch everybody later. Peace.